The greatest podcast hosted by someone who knows so precious little about, almost everything. A journey into the mediocre mind of an exceptionally average person. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
It is Thursday, May 28th, 2020. So just wanted to start off with some serious shit. I'm no longer really surprised by anything that happens in this country anymore, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that sentiment. We're long past the time when shit like what happened in Minneapolis the other day simply should not have happened, and quite frankly, I'm at a loss. I cannot pretend to know what the African American community goes through on a regular basis, and when shit like this happens, it must only make for an even more helpless feeling. What I think I know is that there's something definitely broken here that needs to be fixed. How? I don't know. I'm not very smart, but I'm smart enough to know when I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't know. There's nothing that I can say to have any effect or change minds, so we'll just leave it at that. But it's horrifically disappointing on a number of different levels. But that's it. Back to the nonsense. The hot weather is back, and as a fat person, I hate it. And these fucking allergies are getting on my nerves already. But anywho, jam-packed show today that I'm certain is to be a disappointment for all of you that might be listening. If I haven't disappointed you already, if I have, you can just, end it now. No sweat off my balls. Got a haircut yesterday. It was fucking awesome. My dear friend Ali did another amazing job. It's a bit too short up top, I must say, but given where I was prior to walking in there, I am 1,000% happy with it. I think it's going to be tough going for some of these places right off the bat, because my assumption is they're going to be swamped for a week, maybe more. But they seem to handle it pretty well. Yes, when I asked, I said, how things have been going. Granted, it's a day and a half, not even. But they all said that, everything had been going pretty good. So, the hope is that that continues. So, Tweed Barbers, 1313 Washington Street, Boston. It's great. That's all I can really say. Don't have anything else. So, I am currently 2 episodes into the History Channel's Grant miniseries. I've been waiting for this for a month. I was looking forward to it for, a number of different reasons. One, I like the Civil War. I'm interested in it. I have been for a while. I'm not obsessed. I like to think I know a little bit here and there, just like everything else. I know, a little bit about way too much shit. But right off the top, my impressions of this thing, horribly low budget. This thing has apparently Leonardo DiCaprio's name attached to it. My assumption is that he did not contribute $1 to this thing, because holy shit, like there is some just awful parts to this thing. The acting is not good. I think they found a guy to play Grant who, kind of resembles him, which is fine. He seems like a decent enough actor. Although he must have lung cancer by now because that dude smoked 1,000 cigars. And I really do think that's where most of the budgeting went is, hey, we need to have this dude smoke 8,000 cigars the entire fucking time across the 3 episodes. But it's, there are some parts where, you hear some of these actors like, Sir, the enemy is approaching to the rear flank. And just the way that the guy says it is hilarious and it's bad. But, what do I know? I'm not a movie producer. Never claimed to be. But the General Sherman, kind of lousy. Made him look like, too old and not grizzled enough. He looked almost like a, post-military Sherman. Not post, but like later military Sherman when he was the general of the army. But it was weird. Lincoln, I had this discussion with my wife. Every Lincoln sounds the same. There's no actual recording of what the man sounded like. For all we know, he had a fucking squeaky, high-pitched voice. He died. I had to look this up because I was curious. He died 12 years before Thomas Edison invented the phonograph. I think it was the phonograph. So there's no recording of the man's voice, yet every Lincoln has that weird tone. Sort of gravelly, not quite, I don't know, but it's a gravelly, slow cadence. They all sound the same, and there's really no reason for it. I don't get it. But it's, way too many commercials in the second hour. I mean, way too many commercials. I think the second episode was a little bit better commercial-wise than the first. But there were just too many in the second hour of the first episode. Just ungodly. It's ridiculous. But it's been good overall. And I don't think Grant has had the kind of run that he really should when he essentially saved the Union from embarrassment. But it's like, he'd like to drink. As if drinking in the 1850s and 1860s was somehow so frowned upon to make the man resign was just simply astonishing. I've yet to figure that out. It's almost as if post-war Reconstruction, all of a sudden, hey, drinking is fine now. And then it gets so fucking out of hand that prohibition comes in the early 20th century. It's like, that gap in there must have been wild. But he was an exceptionally gifted man militarily. And he got there almost by accident. His father enrolled him in West Point. He didn't even know. I didn't know that part. Very interesting. And I've enjoyed it. I'm curious to see what comes up in the third episode during, his hand in Reconstruction and how they sort of frame that. I think that'll be good. This is a terribly interesting segment of the show for all of you who don't give two fucks about history. But that's your fucking loss, and this is my fucking show. So if I want to talk about it, I will. And I'm going to talk about it some more. General Sherman is the biggest badass in the entire Civil War pantheon. How there hasn't been a big budget Civil War drama based on his campaign, his march to the sea, is beyond me. A real miss for Hollywood. It could be that there really wasn't much drama. He basically fucking steamrolled from Atlanta to Savannah. Scorched fucking earth. I mean, this guy... The shit that they did to Georgia... I was reading this morning. Apparently, rebuilding from the damage that he caused, at least agriculturally, did not really get back to where it was until the 1920s, which is just fucking astonishing. Railroad tie. I mean, they would dismantle railroads, twist them up around fucking telephone poles so that the Confederates couldn't be resupplied. Fascinating. There's a couple of good books out there. General Sherman. His memoir was horribly long, very, very drawn out. I think I got through like maybe half of it. It's basically 2 books in one, about 600, 700 pages. Very, very long. Too long. But his diary entries or his correspondence from that particular period in the Civil War that's out. That's a book. You should find that. It's good. But yeah. They fucking burned Atlanta to the ground, and then he just kept on going. And he offered Lincoln the city of Savannah as a Christmas present on Christmas Eve. Cute, very cute. Sherman was a badass. He was a very interesting character. So I've spent the last few days doing some homework in regards to building a podcast, and especially seeing as I don't have a job still. Handful. I had an interview this morning with a company who assists nonprofits, and so I thought, oh, okay, they might have some scruples, some morals. I don't want to say sadly mistaken, but just a horribly boring interview. It's 25 minutes of my life I'll never get back. But so why don't I try to make this somewhat serious and see where this can go? My guess is nowhere, but I'm not going to know unless I try. So it looks like the best bet for any measure of success, quote unquote, would be to talk about what I know, also, quote unquote, know, which, as I also mentioned previous, is very little. So it certainly doesn't mean that I'm not going to bitch about other shit, because that's the crux of the program. But let's be honest, if I'm going to build any kind of real audience, I have to provide any, at least some sort of perceived value. So, it's that typically means I am going to have to talk about sports a little bit more. And again, it's not really where I wanted to go as a whole. However, again, it's an easy platform. There's also 18,000 sports podcasts out there. So I was hoping to differentiate myself a little bit. And I think I can. I think I don't want it to be entirely sports. I'm not going to be way too fucking serious about it. Again, I do want to have people on the show. I do want to have conversations. So those are easy conversations to have. There are certain things you can talk about. As I had my conversation with Scott. One of the things that came up was, fantasy, gambling. I also going to talk about human cockfighting, MMA, fucking pro wrestling. If you don't like that, turn this shit right off. Do not besmirch me with your pro wrestling hate. I still love it. Still real to me, damn it. But, there's going to be it's going to be more sports. Because, again, that's all I know. Good news. Did get some voicemails over the course of the last week. So, got a couple good ones that I'm going to play. Hopefully, you like them. I know I liked them. And, yeah, hopefully this will give you, the listener, the wherewithal to participate in the program and join in on all the fun.
Hey, Dave. Isaac. Long time no talk. A little bit late getting into listening to your podcast, but I like it. It is enjoyable. Makes me miss the days of going to a bar and having a conversation. But hey, here's a complaint and observation for you. I'm at Home Depot the other day because my daughter wanted to plant cucumbers in the backyard. So I went to get some seeds. So here I am at Home Depot, and I'm stuck waiting in line for like 20 minutes. It's early in the morning on a Saturday. This is like a 20,000 square foot warehouse, probably bigger than that. I don't know. There's 25 people in the whole building. Why do I have to wait in line? They're just letting people in every couple minutes. So I'm pissed about waiting in line at Home Depot to buy seeds because I want to go home and plant them and then wait 6 months for a goddamn cucumber to grow. And here I am upset that I have to wait in line for 20 minutes to buy the seeds. But in my defense, I'm already waiting 6 months. Why do I have to wait another 30 minutes? It was just, I was so mad. Couldn't believe it. Anyways, talk to you later.
Old friend Isaac coming through as I suspected that he would when I saw that he had left a voice message. And he's not wrong. There should be a special line at Home Depot for seeds. If you're buying seeds or plants, they should let you through much quicker because the payoff, as Isaac mentioned, is way too fucking long. And look, I like planting shit. I'm just horribly impatient. So I planted shit last year. Half of it died. I got 2 pounds of kale, which was dynamite for me, but nothing else. Like the tomatoes, yeah, I fucked those up. But yeah, he's not wrong. You have to wait all that time just to wait longer. Classic. It's a classic bit. And he's not wrong by any means. So, bravo, Isaac. Thank you for sharing. That's how you get involved with complaints and observations. Perfect. I expect nothing less from Isaac, who, one of my oldest friends, and that dude's had his shit together since probably we were 16. So good for Isaac. Better than you, probably, if I had to guess. But better than most. Good dude. And also, one of the few listeners of this program from outside the greater New England area. So thank you, Isaac. Please tell your friends, tell your colleagues. They're all smarter than me. I'm sure they'll enjoy listening to dumb people in a podcast. So thank you. On to the next.
Hey, Dave, I got an idea for you. Why don't you take a page out of your buddy Rick's book? Every time you have a complaint or observation, how about you ghost it? Because they suck. See you at Scott Saturday. Ed sucks.
Oh, man. That's funny. Rude, but funny. Another old friend, that's Jack. Jack, you know, he's very honest. What can you say? On multiple fronts. That was recorded previously prior to last weekend's barbecue at Scott's place. But you know, I will do no such thing. If I would, do that, I wouldn't have a program. So, yeah, that's all I got. But that was funny. I enjoyed that. So, thank you, Jack. And again, if you want to send something in, say that I suck, that's fine. I'll add it to the show, but you have to be concise. You have to be clear. And even if you're wrong, that's okay. It's fine. If you're funny, you'll get on the show. That was funny. I liked that. So thank you, Jack. Keep them coming. So that was fun. Thank you guys for participating. If anybody else is interested, please do so. There is a tab within the show page on the platform that you're choosing to listen. Wow. This is the third time now I've started this segment. And it's the third time that I've completely fucked it up. I don't know what that was about. Brutal. I just spent a little more than an hour on a like a podcast learning conference call thing, and realize I'm doing this all wrong. But it's okay. It's fine. I'm doing it how I want to do it. So it is what it is. Might be some changes here and there, but nothing drastic other than trying to find a focus, which I think is what I'm going to end up having to do. So having said that, I wanted to thank Isaac, thank Jack for sending in your calls. Appreciate it. I thank the other people for sending in calls as well. They just weren't as good. That's all. If you want to be part of the show, don't suck. Pretty simple. But I wanted to get into a couple things that have kind of stuck in my craw here over the course of the last couple of days. First and foremost is baseball. Now, I am not surprised that we are in the current state we are in with baseball, because I knew right when this whole thing started, I knew that baseball would be the one to fuck this whole thing up. And that's exactly what they've done. They've managed to make both sides look like shit. Having said that, I mean, the owners are clearly in the wrong here. Then the players are just too stupid to eloquently say what they need to say. So you have like this Blake Snell guy, he's in the middle of playing video games or some shit when he had that comment recorded about I got to get mine. All right, well, that's fine. I mean, you do. It's part of the deal. It's your job. You got to get yours. It's fine. Just maybe don't say I got to get mine and sound like a moron. You don't need to. You don't need to say shit perfectly in order to get your point across, but he should have known that that was going to be taken a certain way before it even came out of his mouth. Chose not to do it, so now he looks like an idiot, and therefore all the players in the league look like idiots when that's not the case. So, you have guys like Max Scherzer who's come out and is basically like, what's the point of even engaging with the owners anymore? His statement was perfectly spot on, and it was text-based, which also helps. It's no tone, so he doesn't sound like an idiot. He makes a really good point here. Quote, "We have previously negotiated a pay cut in the version of prorated salaries, and there's no justification to accept a second pay cut based upon the current information the union has received," end quote. He is 1,000% correct. They basically agreed to prorated salaries. Look, if we're playing 81 games, they're not going to get paid for 162, which is what their contract calls for. Seems pretty simple. Should have been very reasonable. However, the owners didn't see it that way, so they're trying to cut this down even further, making themselves look like shit, even though for some weird reason the general public seems to want to shit on the players. Well, they're making so much money. Shut the fuck up. It's the market. They're paid what the market allows. There's a market for baseball, even though baseball sucks now, more than it used to. It's gotten so, particular and specialized that it's taken some of the fun and the excitement out of the game, which is sad. It's the first game that I personally fell in love with, and I'm sure most of the people that are listening that happen to give a shit about sports might be like the same. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but, So, there were rules. There were, when you sign rules, what the fuck am I saying? Rules. When you sign a contract, you honor the contract. That's how it works. Both sides are supposed to do that. They came to an agreement back in March. Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to prorate the salaries based on the number of games that we play. Perfect. Well, once it got into May, or probably the end of April, is when the owners started sniffing around and saying, we might need to change this. Well, you can't. You can't do that. That's dirty pool, is what it is. And quite frankly, I think it's really stupid, and I think to think otherwise is just flat out wrong. That's what I think. I would hope that the people listening to this program think the same way. I could be wrong. But, the owners seem to think that they can make up for extended losses, which again, I don't understand. They increased revenue by about $400 million from roughly 10.3 to 10.7 billion in 2019, according to Forbes. That's the amount of money that they're citing they're going to lose if no games were played at all. Roughly 400 million. I think it was like 443 is the number that they cited. They're going to play games at some point. Might be 81, might be 62. I don't fucking know. But they're going to play some games. The TV revenue, which is where they make a majority of their money, is still going to come. It'll be less, but it's still coming. They're still going to have a postseason. Still going to get ratings. And I'm certain that people are going to be so fucking starved for sports when it comes back that they're actually going to sit and watch baseball. That's what I mean. I, for one, I ain't watching a single fucking inning of the Red Sox this year. Let's go Padres. Not really. I don't know. The Red Sox pissed me off so much that I'm all set with them. If they don't play baseball at all, I would not be hurt by that. I'd be disappointed that these children couldn't get their fucking shit together, come to an agreement. But having said that, the owners had an agreement and they want to change it. So fuck them. How am I supposed to why should I feel pity for them? And it's not even like they're so rich thing. I mean, look, that's a small part of it. But how many agreements are you going to break? That does not make me feel any sorrow for these people. One, knowing that you're absurdly rich and this doesn't matter. This is a drop in the bucket for you. That 443 is split amongst all the teams, so it's not like one guy is losing $500 million. If that was the case, all right, fine. Maybe I'll feel bad for you, whatever. But I mean, I just don't understand how I, as a fan, am supposed to feel pity for that group. The owner of the A's the other day doesn't see the need to pay his minor leaguers their meager $400 a week at the end of this month. And again, I'm supposed to feel pity for these people. Minor leaguers get so fucking shit on in that sport, it's not even funny. That's a whole other topic for another time. It's gross. And now what Major League Baseball is going to do to the minor leagues, that's another topic for another time. That's aggravating. But, there's no plan in place because they don't want to have a plan in place. They just keep fucking moving the goalposts as they see fit to try to, make sure that they don't lose as much money. Everybody's losing fucking money. Everybody. And look, there is zero risk to get into professional sports ownership. Zero. You put up the money, that's it. That's the extent of your obligation. You're done. That asset's going to appreciate forever. And now suddenly the players are being asked to subsidize these supposed losses that they're not even opening their books to show. They refuse to open the books. It's a fucking state secret. The expenses, the revenue, it's all hearsay. I mean, even that Forbes article that it's, quote, according to industry sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity, end quote. The end of that is, that also marks the 17th consecutive year that Major League Baseball has seen record growth. 17 fucking years in a row of record growth. And now they want labor to subsidize their single season losses. That's fucking laughable. And it's gross is what it is. Like, why? The fucking balls on these people. It's astounding. On the flip side, the NHL, of all the fucking leagues I thought that would get their shit together, the NHL was neck and neck with Major League Baseball for dead last. Yet here they are. And I have to listen to New York attorney Gary Bettman ramble on about a relatively detailed plan. I don't think. I think the plan's kind of stupid. Well, I shouldn't even say that. That's not the tone I want to take. Dumb? Okay. In some regards, but not all. 24 teams in this playoff format that they have. And it's only 24 to try to squeeze money out of New York, Chicago, Montreal. 3 terrible teams this year. Chicago especially. I mean, the Rangers are, okay, but Chicago and Montreal, like, get the fuck out of here. You don't belong there. And I heard Felger yesterday, well, the Bruins could lose to Montreal because of that whole bugaboo Blaze. Montreal stinks this season. I have zero concerns with the Canadiens. Fuck them. At the same time, I get it. The league needs to generate any sort of revenue that they can because of the 4 major sports. They are number 4. So, you try to generate whatever you can. Okay. It fucks the Bruins, if we're being fair. You're not going to hear anything from them saying they're getting screwed. That's not going to happen. But I think it puts a lot of pressure on them to come out of this and perform. They were far superior to pretty much everybody in the regular season, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Now, do I think they could steamroll and get to the final again? Sure. At the same time, I could see them losing in the first or second round or whatever the fuck it is after the seeding tournament. And I can't. The format of this whole fucking thing stinks. I just don't like it. It doesn't feel good, personally. But again, it's better than nothing, and it's a plan. Whether or not it comes to fruition, I don't think anybody knows. But as of today, they'll probably play some games in Vegas. They'll probably play some games in Columbus, Ohio. Bucolic, beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio is probably a shithole. For all I know. I don't know. Never been there. No desire to go. But now, imagine for the team that wins this thing, or for any of these leagues this year, a championship parade, non-existent, ain't happening. And that would suck. You're invested in a team. Let's say there's a team that's never won a championship. All of a sudden they come out of this thing revved up, raring to go, and do very well. Happen to win the title, and no one's there to see it. It's a giant asterisk next to it because it's always going to be the abbreviated playoffs or abbreviated season or the fucking COVID Cup, as I saw on Twitter the other day. They won the cup, but no one was there to see it. They won the title, and there was nobody in the stands. Amazing. And that sucks. However, Liverpool winning the EPL and having nobody there to see it, love it. That's going to be terrific. You're going to fucking raise the cup, raise the trophy in an empty stadium, all the pomp and circumstance, and all you're going to hear is just a bunch of gibberish from the players. And the downside to that is, like, Jurgen Klopp, I personally, I think I love that guy. What a fucking coach he is. It just sucks that he's the manager at Liverpool because fuck Liverpool. But when the Premier League comes back in a couple of weeks, that's going to be nonstop soccer almost every day of the week for a month plus. West Ham is absolutely getting relegated. I can feel that coming. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to jinx it. But they've just been so snake bitten. And they should be so much better than they are, but they're not. It's disappointing. But I'm holding out hope. If the season did end today, they would stay up. But I don't know. I said months ago that I needed to get ready to watch championship football. Soccer, I should say, for most of my audience. But yeah, so looking forward to that. That should be good. But listen, I've kept you guys way too long. This has been a hodgepodge show. And I think the last two segments are kind of where the direction of the show is going. I'm still going to have some stuff like the 3 gripes and all the random shit that I like to talk about on Mondays. I think that's kind of cool. I hope that's kind of cool. But based on the handful of numbers that I have from my first 6 shows, it seemed as if anytime I talk about sports, that's the bump. So that's good. If you have suggestions, let me know. If you want to be on the show, let me know. Let's get this cranking. Let's get this moving. I've got nothing but fucking time right now. The job search, slowing down. Started off like a fucking ball of fire. But, that interview that I had today that I told you about earlier, meh. It's kind of meh. So, whatever. But yeah, anyways, thank you. Episode 7 in the books. Tell your friends. Godspeed. Ta-ta.